So I've done these videos on my Facebook page before, and now that I'm starting to branch out onto YouTube for multiple things, I thought I would actually do a YouTube video on this. And the whole idea of this is to have a fabric barrier down to prevent weeds from coming up, and then having a fiber net that allows light in and water, but it does not allow insects to encroach into your vegetables. So last year I used this material here, and I have an unopened roll that I purchased. I purchased 2 rolls, and this was the end of the last year's roll. And I'll show you the other roll in a second. So what I did not realize when I purchased it, this is essentially waterproof. So the only water that can go up or down through it is through the holes. And last year was an excessively rainy year. It rained. I can't even imagine how much it rained last year, and I essentially drowned all my plants. So what I have done in the past before I started using what's left over of this material was 6-ply black plastic. The whole reason I went to this other meshed fabric here that's waterproof was that it came in a 6-foot wide width, and 6 feet is perfect because these hoops that are 10 feet they're just 10-foot pieces of PVC pipe that I drive into that I poke a hole in the ground with this bar, stick one in, and then drive another hole in, and then put it in there about a foot in the ground on either side, and it makes a 4-foot distant hoop. Well, if I just place the fabric down on the outside of this 4-foot material, whatever weeds or other plant seeds that are down underneath here start to grow right up through that. And I learned the hard way that I basically destroyed the edges of the fabric barrier. And so I needed something 6 feet, and that's why I originally had gone to black plastic and 6 mil black plastic to do what I did. Switched to this 6-foot product. So this is it here. I got it from, it's a Vivor product, but I bought it at Wayfair online. And as you can see, I haven't opened this bag, but it's a 6-foot, and it was perfect with the exception that it doesn't allow water to go through. The other material that I use is from Sam's Club, and it's a Members Mark product, and it does allow some light to pass through. It definitely allows water to pass through, and it's a great product. The only downside to it was, as I've mentioned, that it only comes in a 4-foot wide width, and I haven't been able to find anything online that's similar to it that came into 6 foot, or I would have gone with that rather than purchase this product again. So I have all of these leftover bricks from a chimney reconstruction after a fire, and the they work great as to hold down all the material. And I'll show you here how I have this end. And it's easy to get in and out of here in the summertime when you want to check on how your things are going. Now, yesterday I planted some things, and you can just get on your hands and knees. And of course, as the plants get taller and bigger, you need to lift up the edges. But the bricks are a great way of doing that because they only weigh 2 or 3 pounds a piece. And you can do that quite simply. So this is a good way to protect your produce from marauding animals such as deer and certainly insects, and it does help cut down on weed interference with your crops growing. As you can see, I've rolled this part out, and I'm going to make this because, as I think I mentioned this before, the reason these rows are this length is because that's what was left over from the roll. You can make this your rows any length you want. So I'm going to actually cut this one longer. A couple of drawbacks that I didn't mention. This is definitely a very time-consuming process, and it's made worse by a breezy day. Just as soon as I unrolled this and cut the end, the wind grabbed it. So I had to go ahead and put some bricks down to hold the edge. But it does save time in the end because I don't have to take care of these plants the way I would by hand weeding. The one thing I didn't mention with this material is it does have some stripes on it for every 2 feet. So actually that's every foot. And I'm going to cut it on the every other one. So having 2-foot strips. All right, so I cut the first strip, and because I've got this weighed down and set up, I'm just going to cut the second one, even though I'm only going to need to have 2. I've already got the edge for the other one, and the first one that I cut will make the second edge. This will free me up some time later on to do another row if I need to. Actually, total 3 strips, 2 cuts, and the easiest way that I've been able to find to determine where you would put the second strip would be to lay out your fabric barrier that's the plants are going to actually grow up through. So that determines the width. Otherwise, you're kind of trying to guess and readjusting a width. So I will lay that out next. Well, the wind held off for me pretty good there while I was trying to do that, so it didn't take nearly as much time as I thought it might. And it's pretty crucial that you overweigh it down on a breezy day like today because it will get away from you quite easily. The wind will pick up underneath one section and literally carry off a couple of bricks because it gives you that sail effect. At this point, I've already planted everything I need to plant in that second, what will be the second one. So I'm going to work on that next and put the cover on. And it's essentially the same thing as rolling out the bottom fabrics. And you just need to make sure that you have plenty of excess on the end to be able to tuck down and weigh it down at the end. So that's what I'm going to do next, because I've already planted everything in that section. The name of the product, that's the fabric covering, is Agribon, and I'll be honest, I don't believe it's as good a quality as it used to be, and I used to be able to get 2 years out of this material using this. I'm very lucky to get 1 year out of it, and it just doesn't stand up to the UV exposure like it used to. I'm not sure what the quality difference is, and I'm not sure that there is. Maybe it's just that's just anecdotal evidence or anecdotal musings on my part. But I also, when I first started buying this 12 years or so ago, they used to stamp the name on the product, and now it doesn't. It was stamped all the whole length, Agribon. You do not see the name on the product anymore. So I don't know if that has anything to do with it. You put your name on something you're proud of, but again, that's just me musing on this subject. So the other aspect of this is it does come in different weights, so different thicknesses, and I purchased a Agribon 15 and an Agribon 10, I believe. And what those are is the amount of light that gets, that's how much shading it provides. So 10 would be, let's in 90% of the light. 15 would be 15% of the light blocking. But it also, each as it gets heavier, has more frost protection. I'm not so concerned with frost protection because at some point everything here in Maine gets killed off anyway, that you would grow from one, that you wouldn't plant from one season to the next anyway. And I think the last thing that I'd like to point out is when you do the outer edge, when you're completing it, it's essential that you put down more bricks than what you think you'll need. And the reason I say that is when you're trying to do this edge in between the two, you don't want to be trying to get over and walk through there carrying bricks or whatever your weight product is. If you have more than you need for the leading edge, when you do it, the first row, then you don't have to bring in bricks when you have less room to move around. So much easier to work out here and bring something heavy than it is in here. I probably had to do this a few times to figure out that, because you're going to need them anyway. Might as well bring them in while it's easy walking.